Something I still need to do is take care of all the dings in this headstock. We've got one here. It's been sanded fairly smooth, but it could use a lot more. We've got all this chipping and stuff down here. And then we got this over here. So I'm going to be doing some sanding. I'm probably going to change the shape of it slightly, but you know what? It can't be helped. I'll make it as smooth as I can. We'll start with some 100 grit to get the big parts. And I may as well start with this one right here. Try to get it fairly rounded here so it looks like maybe somebody did it on purpose. Though not really. Still got a little bit of a varnish there. Okay. And we're rounding up here a little bit. This point. Alright, we'll come back over these with the finer grades, but right now I'm just kind of roughing things in. So I've got a little one over here. And round it off a bit. That way when it's finished, it looks like we were trying to make a point here. So, actually, I rather like that, so I think I'm going to take it a little bit more and go for that look. If I get the two sides fairly even, it'll almost look like I knew what I was doing. Okay. I rather like that. Alright, on to the next one. I'm going to switch to a finer grade and work on that. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to switch to a finer grade because some of those are pretty deep. So this may take a bit. What's the white? We still have varnish on here? Is that why we're turning white? Okay, well, keep going. I'm going to round over here a little bit too. Work on some of these dings and just, again, make it look like we're going for a more rounded edge look. Because you know what, it's our instrument, and we'll do as we please. Thank you. Let's take a look. Okay, looks like we've gotten all the dings on both sides, but this is a little sharp. So I'm going to go back over it and try to round things off a little bit. Make it a little more mellow. That's better. Do the same over here. Because of course we must have symmetry. Zathras told us that. If you get that reference, good for you. Let's do this back edge here. Just kind of touch it up a little bit there. Okay. And now for the big one. This is really going to get interesting because I'm really going to have to go deep. Even more than I had to go over here. As I mentioned before, this almost looks like it was dragged along a sidewalk or something like that, because it is really gouged and really deep into the wood. So it's going to take some doing. So, fresh piece of sandpaper, and here we go. I'm going to go ahead and put it over the hole just because it's an easier place to work, and I can reach beyond the edge of the headstock and go down if I need to, like this, which I clearly need to, because the gouge goes that far. I just realized something. Let's see how much I can zoom in on this, because too much. This right here, that's a veneer. That is a glued on layer. What I was getting down here that was turning white is apparently glue from this. Now I'm not sure how to go about finishing it because I don't know what that veneer is made of. So I'm going to have to do a little consulting with someone, but that also explains why I've got two different colors here when I sand it, because I'm taking this whole thing off. And now I'm wondering if that is something I actually need to do. But it goes all over the headstock, and for all I know, the whole neck has it, so that could end up being a humongous job that with very little payoff. So, for now, I'm going to go ahead and take care of these gouges. And from there, I'll have to find out about treating this veneer stuff. One gets the feeling this was not a top-end instrument. But ultimately, one doesn't care because it's not for a professional player. It's for somebody who's doing it for fun. So if it plays and it sounds okay, good enough. That's all the sanding we need to do on this headstock. So now let's go ahead and put the nut on. Here's what we have. I cut this very nice shim to put under the nut. So now we just got to put it in place, get it or size it, and then put it in place. So like that. That is the precise. Now I want to cut it at the precise width of the neck, which is going to be right there. Now it doesn't really matter if I'm straight all the way down, because most of this is going to be thrown away anyway. There we are. Okay. Now we'll place it and we'll see how much we need this way. Okay. We're only going to be gluing it on these two spots right here. So the rest is just overflow. So we're going to be there, and then on this side will be there. All right. I'll use the old piece as a straight edge. Professional would probably use an X-Acto knife for this. I couldn't find one, but most anything sharp enough to cut that will do. Like a box cutter. All right. There's our shim. I want to put it the wood side up. Like that. So, next step, we have our E6000 kind of overkill glue here, but I like this stuff because it takes hold almost instantly. It's better than super glue. And obviously we don't need much of it. So I'm going to use a toothpick and I'm going to apply some here. And here. And now I'm going to use this to hold it down. Okay, we'll let that set up for a while and we'll be back. It's been curing for about 2.5 hours and it's good and solid. So, let's do the next step. First thing that I have to do is center it. Because it's ever so slightly narrower than the neck, but it's only by just ever so slight. In fact, you could almost call it good. So get our glue here, a handy dandy toothpick, and I'm gonna watch it stop acting like pizza cheese, and I'm gonna put some right here on the end of the neck. Wow, this stuff really likes to hang on to itself. I'm spilling over onto the bottom a little bit there, but that's okay, because we'll need some there too. Get a little bit more there. All right, now I'm going to put some on the bottom of the nut. I'm trying to be somewhat stingy with this stuff because I don't want gobs of it everywhere. So the idea is to get enough to hold the nut in place, but still make it look decent. All right, time to place it. And here we go. Okay, that is centered. It is down on the shim. And come on, get in there. It's sitting high enough to hold strings. So I'm going to have to hold it in place for a while so the glue takes hold. And you might notice we have a little extra of the shim hanging over here. I will probably cut that off once this thing is solid, just so it looks a little neater. I have never done this before. Basically, everything you're seeing me do in these videos, I'm learning as I go. I am completely self and YouTube taught with this stuff. I had no idea I would ever be doing something like this as a pastime, but why not? So, there we go. She's that much closer to having a playable instrument. I'm going to let that cure for about 24 hours. And then we'll take care of that excess shim and get to treating the wood. Alright, I noticed this is moving, which means I didn't get enough glue back here. So I'm going to put some more in there. Oops. The whole thing came loose, didn't it? Alright, well, let's follow my basic principle of most things, that too much is better than not enough. I can always get rid of I can always wipe the excess away or cut it off or whatever later on, but right now let's get it to where I got glue squishing out of here. I can't help noticing it sits at an angle. That's the way the neck, the end of the neck is cut. I'm not going to worry about it right now, but I don't know how well you can see, but I've got a little glue pooching out there now. So that should, I say should, keep it in place. We will check on it tomorrow and find out. It's 24 hours later, and I do believe that thing is as solid as the proverbial rock. So all we need to do is get rid of this little extra of the shim here, and I actually have an X-Acto knife to do that with. Thank you to my wife for finding it for me. So we'll just very slowly and carefully slice across that. And there we are. Clean up the old glue a little bit, and I think that looks pretty darn good. So, on to the next task. What is that? I'm not sure yet. Stay tuned.